tonight. Tonight I'm talking about the mother of the airman. His name was Airman Roger Forston, who was murdered by a Okaloosa County deputy. Has broken her silence and she has decided that she is going to speak out. This video is courtesy of ABC3, Where Channel News, and YouTube. Listen to this excerpt here that I have. Um, First of all, let me put this on silence. All of a sudden, the phone wants to start acting up when I want to get down to the news cycle here. All right. Once again, I have it set up here. Listen to the excerpt of the mother who decided to speak out after the Okaloosa department decided to fire the deputy.
Friday, Sheriff Eric Aden fired the deputy who shot and killed Air Force Senior Airman Roger Fortson in early May. The deputy was identified as Eddie Duran. In the U.S. Army from 2003 to 14, and he has more than a decade of experience in law enforcement. The Sheriff's Office Internal Affairs investigation determined Duran's use of deadly force was not, quote, objectively reasonable. And today we're hearing from Fortson's mother and attorney who reacted to the termination and why they say justice has not been served. Tana Stewart spent the day combing through that report and explains what Fortson's family wants to see next.
Sue, this morning, attorney Ben Crump and Roger Fortson's mother, Mika, both who we've heard from before, addressed the media again, expressing their disbelief over how it's all unfolded, saying there appears to be an effort to tarnish Roger Fortson's reputation. This 29-page internal affairs report released Friday reveals a detailed account from many perspectives, including the leasing agent at the apartment complex who called police after a neighbor reported a disturbance to the leasing office. We've learned through the report that the resident who made the initial call was a fellow airman who says they didn't know Roger Fortson personally. The neighbor described to investigators hearing yelling through a vent in their apartment for roughly 30 minutes, saying they'd heard arguing coming from the apartment before that day, adding they were concerned for a child they believed may have been in the residence. Fortson's family attorney Ben Crump doubled down today on the fact that he believes police were at the wrong apartment.
He was in the apartment by himself with his dog, Chloe, video chatting with his girlfriend. There was no domestic dispute between a male and female. There were no children in his apartment. And so they had the wrong apartment. Period.
Fortson's mother, Mika, says the detailed report isn't enough to bring her closure.
Let's be clear. Don't let this gold teeth fool you guys. I'm not dumb. I want justice for my child. You're not going to throw me a bone.
The investigation details former Deputy Eddie Duran's mindset leading up to the shooting and what signs pointed him to believe he was in fear of his life. Duran was asked why he didn't wait for backup. The report states he believed the issue had escalated to a physical altercation. Duran was asked by Internal Affairs if he heard signs of a disturbance as he was walking toward Fortson's apartment. He replied no. After knocking the first time without announcing himself, the report states Duran says he heard something to the effect of referencing police. After Fortson answered the door, Duran described seeing aggression and anger on Fortson's face, telling investigators, quote, "That showed me there was obviously a little discontent for me knocking at the door," close quote. It further states Duran says Fortson was not complying with him between the few seconds that Fortson opens his apartment door and Duran opens fire. Duran stated, based on everything that I had taken into account, I felt 100% that action was going to be my best course as opposed to reaction. The sheriff's office determined Duran's actions don't justify the use of deadly force, explaining the investigation doesn't show Fortson making hostile or attacking movements toward the deputy. Fortson's mother says the report is a slap on the wrist for the deputy involved.
That's not justice for me. It's so many lies in that report. It's so much left out in that report. Bring up charges against him. He thought he wasn't going to make it home to his family. Guess what? This one did it.
Attorney Ben Crump says the shooting is simply not justified and fully anticipates criminal charges.
I absolutely believe there would be charges in this case. It would be an affront to justice, I believe, if there are not charges. I mean, you're in your own home. You're in your own home. If you can't be safe in the sanctity of your own home, where can you be safe at?
Roger Fortson's girlfriend on the FaceTime call disputes the claims that there was an argument taking place, also stating she never heard law enforcement or Roger acknowledging police. FDLE tells me this afternoon no information is being released as their investigation remains ongoing. In the studio, I'm Tanner Stewart.
This is the problem with the firing of a deputy. For often, far too long, especially when it comes to black men here in America, police will always believe no matter what, they've got the FOP to back them up. They have other corrupt police to back them up. And the bottom line is this: even if charges are filed, does that necessarily say that this man is going to be charged appropriately and given the appropriate sentence if convicted? And it's a two-tier justice system here in America. This young man, the Airman Fortson, did not deserve to be murdered. It was an outright murder. There was no justification for it whatsoever. And you know what? I'm so tired of hearing about Donald Trump being so unjustly convicted. Listen, he is a white privileged billionaire in the United States of America. And he was afforded every legal constitutional opportunity to have a fair trial. If he didn't testify at his trial, that was his choice to making his alone. This young man right here was viciously and savagely murdered. That is the bottom line. Firing the deputy does not justify what he did. I'm Tyrone Bowman. Never surrender. Never quit.